Hey, how's it going, guys? Stonewall here with Raised by Sharks. Today we're going to talk about why you need to try the Lance and how to make it fun using a nice build and how you should be using it. So, the Lance is a fairly unpopular weapon, and I don't know why. I think it might have to do with the stiffness of the weapon, but this build is going to fix that for you and show you how to really bring it to its true potential and really show it off to you. Especially with kulve taroth going around, and you can be getting some excellent lances from it without having to do any work for it. You can just pick one up and try it, and it's definitely worth it because it deals heavy damage, solid mobility, solid survivability, and combined with some health regen augments, you can become a walking tank. Okay, so just to show you the damage in the training area that you could do, I mean, look at this. These pokes are all hitting for solid damage. One combo with this set is giving you easily over 200. Now, if you're using that with 2 health regen augments on this, you're getting back basically a mega potion every combo. So you can really stick right on top of the monster, deal a lot of damage quickly, and you're very mobile and defensive with it because of the guard. I'm going to show you a build in a second that eliminates the flinching and all of the stiffness of the build, increasing your damage a lot. The basics of the Lance is that the circle is the high slash, the triangle is the low slash, triangle and circle does a swipe, X does hops instead of dodge rolls, especially the back hop is very useful. If you guard with right trigger, from there you could do a counter, or you could do triangle and circle to do the dash, which if it's a monster that can't move, or if you can't get through it, you could sit there doing dozens and dozens of ticks of like 20 to 30 damage. The DPS you get from a Lance is incredible once you get used to it. So for starters, in my opinion, the best Lance in the game is the Barrett Stinger 3 because it's got blue sharpness, 460 attack, it can get elementless, it's got a medium slot, a small slot, and 3 augmentation slots along with 15 defense. In those augmentation slots, I really firmly believe that you should put 2 health regens and an affinity augment. That will really make this weapon shine. Then you're going to want to go with an attack charm 3 for attack boost 3. You're going to want to go with the Dragon King eye patch with a critical jewel slotted in. Then you're going to want to go with the Basal Mail B for 2 guard and slot in another guard and critical eye jewel. Then you want to go with the Xeno Jiva Claws A for a flinch free and a critical boost along with 1 critical eye jewel in there. The flinch free is really important on Lance because 1 flinch free is what you need to avoid being tripped heavily by all of your teammates because Lance and Hammer are both heavily tripped by teammates, but with the Lance especially because it's knocking you out of your combos, which is how you're healing yourself and dealing a lot of damage. So 1 flinch free is pretty much essential for a Lance. Then you go with the Nergigante Coil B for 2 attack boost and slot in an evade window jewel. Then you go with the Kushla Boots B for 2 evade extender and a slot that you'll put the non-elemental boost into. So again, this is what the jewels would look like: Tenderizer, attack, critical, iron wall, expert, evasion, elementless. You don't need every single one of those jewels. Really coming close to this build will do good enough, but the total set gives you 6 attack, 3 weakness exploit, 3 guard, 2 critical eye, 2 critical boost, 2 evade extender, 1 evade window, 1 flinch free, and 1 elementless. So the reason I went with 3 guard is because it's the sweet spot for the set. 3 guard gives you really good survivability for blocking attacks and not receiving chip damage, as well as retaining a good amount of stamina and knockback without giving up too much slots to get the guard 5. The reason you need flinch free, again, is to avoid being tripped to increase your DPS. A lot of people will say you don't need it. You absolutely need it for Lance because you will get tripped so much that it's frustrating and it'll drop your DPS a lot. Finally, I went with 2 evade extender and 1 evade window to get rid of that stiffness. Once you get used to the Lance, you get the extra mobility from that. You're going to be able to dodge a lot of attacks with that back hop, and 2 evade extender is perfect because 1 back hop and you're in optimal range to go with your 3 poke combo again, and then back hop, 3 poke combo, back hop, 3 poke combo without going too far from evade extender 3 or not far enough with evade extender 1. Evade extender 2 is the sweet spot. Plus the evade window helps you dodge through some attacks that you might not have before. And then obviously this set gives you a decent amount of damage with weakness exploit, critical eye, critical boost, and attack boost 6. I mean, coming from someone who hated Lance before, I didn't give it a shot, and then one day I was like, you know what, for a video for YouTube, let me just make a Lance. I started using it a little bit for that video, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I think it's such an underrated weapon. I'm very sad that it's so unpopular, because this weapon deals actually really insane damage, has solid mobility when you think it wouldn't. It feels stiff until you get used to it, and then you really can't ever go back. The mobility is unrivaled. Plus, you get really good survivability because that shield will block everything. Once, especially if you can get a guard up jewel, if you're lucky enough to get that, Jesus Christ, you can block everything. Literally every attack in the entire game. Alright, that's it for the lance, guys. You really should give it a shot, especially with all the free, really good lances being given out by Kulve Taroth. And, I really hope you like it. If you have any questions about the lance, please let me know. I'd be happy to help you out. And again, thanks for watching Raised by Sharks. Remember to like and subscribe.